Happy Tuesday, everyone. I'm so excited to have two people on the podcast for the first time today, and that's Josh Jordan and Nick Hindman. Josh, Nick, I'm glad you guys are here today.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you very much.
Well, let's give a little background. The main reason we want to have a conversation today is because Josh and Nick had this incredible feat that they did together. Um, well, several, but one especially in my mind is that they accomplished an Ironman 70.3 as a team. And so before we get into that, I want to ask Josh, Nick, maybe let's start with Nick. How did you first meet Josh?
Well, Josh and I went to the same high school together. Um, and I and um, I, I I wanted to join a team sport, right? So,
Mm-hmm.
in high school, I decided to join the wrestling team,
Yeah.
and Josh was one of my teammates, and then so we uh, Jo- Josh became my good friend like pretty fast. So
Oh, heck yeah. So back in high school, you guys wrestled together. You were teammates and became friends pretty fast. Josh, what would you add to that?
He hit it right in the head. I mean, I was just a senior on the wrestling team, and Nick came out for wrestling, and day in and day out, he battled it with us, and I just really thought that was awesome, and that intrigued me to be his friend even more because I could learn from him, and we just hit it off. We always had great conversation, always battled it out on the mat, and I just always admired that about Nick, and we just even off the mat, I came back and coached for a couple years after I graduated, and Nick was still on the wrestling team, and he's one of the main reasons why I came back and coached, just because I enjoyed his passion for competition, and
So
relentless.
cool. And real quick, Josh, what was the high school that you guys went to?
Perrysburg High School.
Perrysburg High School in Ohio. Um, and the before you guys got into doing triathlons, you competed doing marathons and running. So, Nick, I want to ask you, do you remember the first marathon that you and Josh did, and tell us a little bit about that day?
yeah, so it was the 2016 the National Children's Mayor National Children's Hospital Marathon in Columbus.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and we had done a lot of training up until that point. So um, we were both excited, but we were nervous at the same time, and because it was the first time, you know, we had trained a lot, but we had never done it before, so we got the first part, but we pushed each other and got across the finish line.
Heck yeah. And just like all of us, right? Natural competitors are nervous and excited at the same time. Josh, if you think back to that marathon in Columbus, um, what stands out to you? Tell us about a couple of moments.
Um, I really remember the beginning. You're standing there before the gun goes off, and you're thinking about your training that you put in. We almost put 1,000 miles behind us before we stepped foot on that track that year and or that course that year. And I just thought about everything, and I don't ever want to let Nick down. So, you're nervous in that aspect. But another thing that I particularly remember is, we didn't have any sponsors. We didn't have anybody really like feeding us money to get like the new cool improved lightweight chair for us to really be fast. So we ended up fabbing up one of Nick's old wheelchairs, and the my biggest I'm kind of thankful for it because it took my mind off of my nerves. But I remember there was 2 square tubes on the front of his wheelchair that I was so nervous about taking people's ankles out just because there's thousands of people there and you're weaving in and out, and yeah, I just remember that really. And then getting out there, Nick and I have a great friendship. We're like brothers, and he always knows exactly what to say, when to say it, just to get us to that finish line. And I remember his favorite words. I'm sure Nick will attest to it. His favorite words are to turn around and say, "You suck." So that stands. He's always feeling the fire, not only for me but for him as well. So yeah, those are a couple things I remember particularly about the first race, and yeah, so it was fun, and we did, we did what we intended to do that day, and it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, that's awesome. And Nick, for listeners, can you help people understand what it is that why are you in a wheelchair? Help us understand it, and more importantly, tell us about walking to the finish line with Josh.
Yeah, so I have cerebral palsy, which affects my muscles and my speech and all this stuff and my ability to walk. So so um so um um I didn't take my first steps until I was like 9 years old, and I took like years of therapy and countless surgeries on my legs to be able to learn how to walk. So there's a lot. Something that people take for granted sometimes, like something as walking. Like when you put that much hard work into it, it means a lot to be able to walk. So yeah, Josh had the idea that why don't we cross that finish line together, and I'll have you stand up, and we'll both walk through it together, and so yeah, so it made that more special that something that I took years to try to do through hard work and a lot of training and stuff like that. That we were able to get together. So I mean, a little bit extra special.
Yeah, that's amazing. It makes me smile thinking about how much hard work each of you put in your own respective way to get to that point where you could celebrate that moment. I got chills right now just thinking about it. So let's transition there to the Ironman 70.3. And for listeners, that entails a 1.2 mile swim, a 56-mile bike ride, and then cap it off with a half marathon 13.1 mile run. Josh and Nick did this in Muncie, Indiana in October of 2021. Um, who wants to start here for the first question?
Nick can start it out, and to add to
Nick
that,
can start it off. Okay, Nick, what was your favorite event of the three? The swim, the bike, or the run?
I was that was like the beginning of it was again a lot of excitement and nervousness. But once we got up there, we saw all the people that were there and all the people that were rooting us on, and it was just a lot of fun. And at that point, you're not paying or anything yet, so it's pretty easy at that point. I mean, so from that aspect, it's a lot of fun, and I'm sure Josh felt a little bit different, but yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. So the swim was Nick's favorite. And I agree. It was fun being out in the water and more importantly, the adrenaline. I had the opportunity to compete with him that day, and there's just so much adrenaline, nervous excitement, and like Nick said, your people are there. And when you have your people there, it's just a really special time, a special place. So, Josh, what was your favorite event?
I would say the swim. Um, we were fresh. We were ready to rock and roll. We had a great training program going up to it. Um, and I feel, before this, Nick was very nervous of the water, and I thought it was pretty cool for Nick to get to the point to where he's comfortable in the water, especially that day. You're in a big reservoir, and he's on his board, and he's pushing me while I'm pulling him. Um, but I think the swim was the funnest for me, especially they started us dead last, which kind of was a blessing in disguise, I would say, because we went out there and passed a bunch of people. It's so cool when you're competing because that's what you train for. But we did really well. We scooted through the water faster than I imagined we would. Um, we had some fun with some people while we were out there. Believe it or not, you go by some of the rescue centers and ask them where the restroom is out in the middle of a lake, and they like look at you real. So we had a lot of fun in the water. So I would say that would probably be the funnest event for that day was this one.
So cool. So Nick is on the paddleboard. He's pushing you. He's like your coach on the paddleboard as you're pulling him, right? It sounds like. And
Yeah.
then you transition to the bike. And I have to imagine that the bike was not easy. And if I remember right, Nick, I think the bike was the the hardest for you because it was raining and you were getting all this water right in your face, right?
Yeah, that's the hardest part, but I mean, I think, you know, the way that we push each other is like, so I say, he's the physical aspect, he's the physical horse, and I'm the mental aspect behind it. So the way I look at it, it's like we are, we are out there and there's no one around, so we only have each other to rely on, right? So the only way that we're gonna get to our destination is to get to the finish line. So no matter what we go through, um, we always have each other to rely on, and we always push each other. So, like, so regardless of how hard it was, we just kept that in mind and we just kept pushing.
Yeah, that's Nick. That's really beautiful. You got Josh being the physical aspect, and you're the mental aspect of the team. Hey, Josh couldn't do that. Um, Pool. I guess it's one thing to have the physical. Um, I'm trying to think of the right words here, but I feel like you hit the nail on the head. Josh had the physical responsibility, and Nick, you had the mental responsibility and that's how you guys come together as a team. So really well said, Josh. What about the run? Since I can appreciate that's the bread and butter coming into it, since you guys had done a couple half and full marathons up to that point, what moments do you remember from the run?
Um, yeah, like you said, it's kind of like how we feel is our bread and butter, and we took me a couple miles to get my legs under me, after that bike ride. Um, so once we hit about a mile and a half, we got to business. We got in the groove of things, and there wasn't one person that passed us that we didn't say, great job, you're gonna make it. You're doing really good. That's one of the big things for us is, we're not just out there to do it for ourselves, but we're there to just show other people, what they're capable of. It's not uh, what your body's physically doing. Your mental will push you a long way too. But we got down to business, and the run went really smooth. We felt really good. Only took a couple water breaks and pushed through it, and ended up doing pretty well on the run. I remember there was one that passed us through the bike with like 2 miles to go, and he said, "If you get the finish line," I said, "Yes, you will." And I remember, I'm sure Nick remembers this too. Excuse my language, but we passed him with about half a mile left to go, and he looked at us and he said, "Damn it, you caught me." So that's worth it.
I'm gonna give Nick credit for that one. There's no way you were mentally strong enough to get to that point without him.
No, definitely not. He's my backbone out there for sure.
That's so cool. And Josh, one thing that stands out to me that you guys both hit on is the mental aspect of competing. Is just the mental toughness aspect is so important. Um, I think about how much the body can accomplish. Your bodies can accomplish as a team, and it starts with your mindset. If you don't have the mindset to get through the accountability buddies that you serve for each other, you're not going to get to that point.
Right.
Hmm.
So much out there, that people put on themselves just because of their physical capabilities, and I think that's what really holds a lot of people back. If they get into the right mindset, they could achieve so much more than what they could ever imagine. Um, I don't know, that's how I feel. You're not limited to your physical capabilities. You're only limited to your mindset. So,
Yeah, and you guys are a prime example of that, and certainly an inspiration. Like you mentioned, as you pass people, and so many people were encouraging along the way. I can appreciate that. Having done a triathlon, when I saw another duo competing together, it's an inspiration beyond words. I was almost speechless the first time I saw a team come by me at a different point in the course, and I was just like, "What? How are they doing this? That's amazing!" And so I want to ask as we wrap up here, Nick, the the floor is open. What would you want to share with a listener?
Man, just no matter what physical things you go through in life, um, lower the way, um, you know, you can do whatever you set your mind to if you really work hard and put the time and effort in. Um, you know, and Josh and I have been the best team ever just because we had the same mindset.
Mhm.
We always push each other to get the job done, no matter what obstacle it is. And that's kind of the same aspect I have in life, right? So, we are very like-minded, and in that way, I'm very thankful for the friendship that I have with Josh. He been like a brother to me, and you know, with, with that kind of support, and 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 you know, the fact that we work so hard to show that you can truly accomplish anything, no matter what you go through.
Yeah, thanks for sharing that, Nick. I, 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 I hope we all give that a second, listen to and reflect on that. That we can truly accomplish anything that we set our minds to, and to find a way to overcome any physical limitations or whatever roadblocks that we find in our life. To just find a way through them and set our minds to what we want to accomplish. Josh, open floor. What might you want to share?
I'll just feed off of what Nick, we both share the same mindset, but I've always had one saying ever since I was a kid. When I first started wrestling, we always had one saying on the back of our shirt, and that is hard work makes dreams come true. So, that just means if you put your nose to the grindstone and you truly push yourself, you can always blast through your capabilities and past the new horizon basically. And yeah, the I don't know, the finish line is always further and further and further away, and you're always trying to get perfection, but you can't ever do it. So hard work makes things happen.
Hard work makes it happen. Oh man, I love it. Josh, Nick, the two of you are an inspiration to me. Um, it was simply a pleasure to get to train at the same time for the same competition with you guys in different states, and I hope that any listeners who have any feedback reach out. We'd love to hear from you and share any thoughts and stories you have. Nick, Josh, thanks for jumping on here today.
Thanks for
Thank
having
you.